One of the core teachings that we find in Buddhism is to understand the pain and suffering as a part of life, and also to see the suffering and the pain as it is. But this is easier said than done. Okay? Because most of the time when we go through painful feelings and painful situations in life, we used to worry, we used to become frustrated, and we fall down mentally. But the Buddha offers us a different way of thinking to see this pain and to see this suffering, to use that experience to add more meaning to our life. So today, let's talk about how can we move through painful situations in life. According to Buddhism, the Buddha gives a wonderful simile for this. The Buddha says, suppose they were to strike a man with a doti, and then they would strike him immediately afterwards with a second dot, so that the man would feel a feeling caused by two dots, two arrows, when the uninstructed worldling is being contacted by a painful feeling. He feels two feelings, bodily, physical feeling, and the mental feeling or physical suffer. And mental suffer, the reason why we worry in the face of this unavoidable suffering in our life is we expect a life without suffering. But life itself has the intrinsic nature and inherent nature of suffering and pain and unsatisfied nature. So what Buddha teaches us is to see it as a part of life, to not try to forget it. Do not try to run away from it. See it as a part of your life that always persists throughout your life. And the Buddha says that when an ordinary person goes through these feelings to escape from this pain, what he does is he seeks delight in sensual pleasures. He chases behind sensual pleasures to distract himself. So that is the normal reaction, isn't it? Normally, when someone goes through a painful feeling, when someone goes through a difficult time in his life, they chase behind sensual pleasure to distract their brains, distract their mind from that pain. For an example, when someone is struggling in their life, if someone has pain in his mind, sometimes some people use alcohol. Some people distract them with alcohol. Some people distract them with sexual miscontact. Some people distract with consuming more and more social media these days. It is happening more and more. Okay, for an example, if you feel any pain in your life, just check your behavior. People use more and more social media. Why? To distract themselves with that pain, from that pain. But Buddha does not say that chasing behind the sensual pleasure is completely wrong. But the say is that chasing behind sensual pleasure does not solve your problem completely. Why is that so? The more we chase behind sensual pleasure, the more we suffer because of the unsatisfied nature. So that is why the Buddha said chasing behind sensual pleasure does not solve your problem completely. Why it does not solve the problem completely? Because whenever we are being struck by a miserable feeling or a painful feeling in life, now we need something material, an external source, to distract ourselves all the time. Now, this does not help us to focus on ourselves and find the true nature of this problem and solve it once and forever. Okay? So that is why the Buddha said, chasing behind sensual pleasure will not completely solve your problem. Instead of chasing behind the sensual pleasure to distract ourselves, the Buddha says that look at the pain as a part of life that is unavoidable. And the Buddha says that pain is an inevitable condition in life, but worrying is an option that we choose. Worrying is always optional. So the Buddha used a special term to these ups and downs in life. He called it 8 world conditions. The Buddha said that these 8 worldly conditions prevails in this world every time the Buddha says gain and loss, dispute and fame, blame and praise and pleasure and pain. These 8 worldly conditions revolve around the world, and the world revolves around these 8 worldly conditions. So these 8 worldly conditions are like the 2 phases of the same coin. We cannot separate it. So the Buddha says that do not worry too much more than needed about these painful situations in life rather than worrying about it. We always have the choice to stay away from worrying because pain is an inevitable condition, but worrying is an optional thing, is a choice that we make in our life. So keep this amazing sentence in your mind. Pain is inevitable, worrying is optional. Keep that in your mind and stay strong, stay safe. Now, Wood, hi.